A Thousand Blows takes inspiration from real life for the stories of Sugar Goodson and Hezekiah Moscow, but the story does make some changes from historical fact. Set in 19th century London, A Thousand Blows focuses on a number of people operating on the outskirts of the growing world of underground boxing and criminal enterprises, with an unexpected bond between up-and-coming immigrant boxer Hezekiah Moscow and 40 Elephants criminal Mary Carr causing a lot of chaos in the East End of London. The critically acclaimed show takes direct inspiration from real-life stories and history about the boxing world of that era. This includes many of the show's main characters, like Moscow and his rival for Mary's attention, the brutal Sugar Goodson. However, while the show does a good job of bringing that period to life in a compelling way, it's worth noting the specific ways the show remixes history for narrative purposes, as well as which plot lines for Moscow and Sugar reflect real events. There may be clues hidden in the real-life stories of Sugar and Moscow that tease their fates in upcoming seasons of A Thousand Blows. Here is how A Thousand Blows Season 1 compares to real life. A Thousand Blows is generally accurate to East End's real-life boxing world in this era. A Thousand Blows is a good reflection of real-life drama in 19th century London. A Thousand Blows Season 1 EP 1-17. Image via Hulu. A Thousand Blows takes inspiration from the real lives of Victorian-era boxers like Hezekiah Moscow and Sugar Goodson, even if it amplifies the character drama for dramatic purposes. As depicted in the Hulu show from Peaky Blinders creator Stephen Knight, London's societal structure heavily divided the upper crust from the working class. This is depicted in the way bare-knuckled boxing is embraced as an underground form of entertainment, even as more prestigious corners of the city are making efforts to turn combative brawls into a respectable and globally recognized sport. Many boxers featured are based on historical records from the period. Other aspects of the show, such as the prominence of the 40 Elephants as a criminal gang making their way through London, are also accurate to history. However, there's less evidence that they overly crossed paths with the boxers as much as they do within the show. Still, A Thousand Blows feels authentic to the era and many depictions of it in media, highlighting the divide that exists between those who consider themselves to be the civilized upper class as opposed to the more grimy and gritty aspects of the city. This divide plays into the themes of the show. Hez and his tragic life really did happen, but was tweaked for the show. Hezekiah really was a black boxer who earned plenty of wins in London. A Thousand Blows Season 1 EP 1-29. Image via Hulu. Hezekiah Moscow was a real black boxer in Victorian-era London. As reported by Esquire, historian, and one of the historical consultants on A Thousand Blows, Sarah Elizabeth Cox accounted for the life story of Moscow, which ended in mysterious circumstances. Although it isn't clear if he was actually from Jamaica as he is depicted in the show, the real Moscow did hail from the Caribbean region. He was also believed to possibly be of mixed Chinese heritage, which inspired the character's fluency in Mandarin. Instead of being an aspiring lion tamer, the real Moscow worked with bears before being arrested. The charges were dropped after the arresting officer was convicted of falsifying evidence. Hez became a successful fighter and really was close friends with fellow fighter Alec Monroe, who became his sparring partner and cornerman before being stabbed to death. This death had a profound effect on both the real-life and fictional versions of Moscow. Moscow's final fate has been lost to history, although it's known that he eventually left the boxing world and had a family. However, among the final mentions of Moscow was an announcement from his wife that he had gone missing, leaving his fate a mystery. Sugar truly was a one-eyed brawler and a father. Sugar was a notable boxer but had some life details A Thousand Blows leaves out. A Thousand Blows Season 1 Finale 8. As explained by Cox on her blog Grappling with History, Sugar Goodson was another notable fighter from the same era as Hezekiah Moscow, even if it's highly unlikely that the real versions of them had the intense rivalry that the show depicts them with. In fact, there's no confirmed record that the two traded blows in the ring. However, the show does take a lot of inspiration from who Sugar was in real life. Sugar Goodson and his brother Treacle were indeed both bare-knuckled boxers who ran the Blue Coat Boy Saloon, which hosted many underground fights of the era. Sugar was actually married and a father to 3 children, a role given to Treacle in A Thousand Blows. Sugar Goodson was noted for being a skilled and fearsome fighter, with a distinctive look due to potentially missing one of his eyes. Sugar became most infamous for his title fight with Jack Hicks in an abandoned church in 1882, during which the police raided the illegal event and arrested many people, including Sugar. Sugar's trial became a minor public sensation due to the still controversial nature of boxing, but he was let go with some minor fines and a warning. What real life might tease about A Thousand Blows Season 2's boxing story? Hez's future and Sugar's trial could inspire plot lines in Season 2 and beyond. Because of the fictional nature of A Thousand Blows, the show isn't necessarily beholden to exactly represent the real-life events of Sugar and Hez's lives in future storylines. However, those stories will likely influence and inspire the general direction of the show going forward. While their proximity to Mary Carr and the 40 Elephants complicates their lives and spurs their rivalry, these details add some potential for unknown twists and turns to the show. Moscow eventually having a wife and child could already be seeded by the show, giving him two romantic interests in Mary and the high society Victoria Davies. His eventual disappearance means the show could take him in all sorts of possible directions, either killing him off or sending him in some other unknown direction. He could even go into hiding like Mr. Lau did after Mary broke him out of prison. Sugar's brawl with Hicks could easily become a big storyline in Season 2, forcing the show's most dangerous fighter to confront a justice system he can't punch out. In the process, he may end up helping establish boxing as an acceptable sport, giving his refusal to enter a more respectful world in A Thousand Blows' future.